Lancaster is in Manchester as we speak right now. Joining us one-on-one. Will, please join this bandwagon. What is your take?
Hello, TV47, Will Lancaster, an English Premier League reporter, joining you for the first time from the UK to talk about the Premier League title race. But first, to Africa, with Senegal being stripped of the AFCON trophy, giving Morocco the title after their antics off the pitch in what was the most bizarre final in some time. We all remember Brahim Diaz's failed Panenka and the superb strike from Papagay, but it was the antics before that from Senegal's team that brought the game into disarray. It's obviously a very bad look for African football. There's no shying away from that. No other international trophies have been brought into disrepute like this in the past, and no doubt it will throw the next AFCON into more disregard. After some of the antics at AFCON as well in 2021 and 2022, there will be more pressure than ever on tournament organisers to ensure that the next one runs smoothly. And if Senegal and Morocco meet again, who knows what will happen. Be an interesting one for sure. To the Champions League, and we now know our 8 teams in the quarter-finals. Some big teams were knocked out: Chelsea, Manchester City, Tottenham Hotspur, as well as everyone's favourite Bodo Glimt from Norway. PSG, they'll face Liverpool after beating Chelsea 8-2, and I think they will go through. The reigning champions of Europe, obviously, they absolutely demolished Chelsea, and with Liverpool in a kind of a poor run of form overall, I can't see PSG losing that one. Real Madrid take on Bayern Munich in the biggest heavyweight clash of the round. Madrid obviously have serious prestige in the Champions League, and having beaten Manchester City 5-1, you could see them as the favourites for the title. But I do think there is something incredible about Bayern Munich under Vincent Kompany. Scoring 10 over 2 legs against Atalanta really is something to behold. I think they can get the upset. Harry Kane is on fire and maybe on course for a Ballon d'Or. Luis Diaz, Michael Olise, that's a really talented front line, and I think they could cause an upset against Madrid. Barcelona face rivals Atletico in an all-Spanish clash. They've already faced each other over 2 legs in the Copa del Rey, which Atletico did win. But on the biggest stage, I do think it'll be Barcelona that advance. They got to the semi-finals last season, and there's no reason they can't do the same again, especially with their star-studded attack: Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, Robert Lewandowski. There are some real world-class talents in there, and I think over the 2 legs they will beat Atletico. And finally, we have Sporting versus Arsenal. Every year it seems as though a Portuguese club gets through to the quarter-finals, but they can't quite breach that semi-final push. And with Arsenal being the most resolute team in the competition at the moment, I do fancy them to breeze past Sporting and make an interesting set of semi-finals there. In fact, I do think it could be Arsenal's year. If they can take on Barcelona in the semi-finals, then one game could be enough to see them over the line. They're very resolute, great defensively, and who knows what happens in the final. But I think it could be Arsenal's year. To another London club in Chelsea, they suffered a real hammer into PSG, and it does seem as though Liam Rossignol is slightly out of his depth. It's maybe not his fault. He's only managed in the Championship and Ligue 1 before, which is decent experience, but Chelsea needs someone with a bigger reputation. Antonio Conte, Carlo Ancelotti, Jose Mourinho, all names from the past. I don't think Rossignol is anywhere near those standards. You can't blame him for taking the job, but I think you have to look at Todd Boehly, the owner, and Clearlake Capital. Chelsea have gone backwards since they came in. There is no shying away from that. And that is not down to Liam Rossignol, the manager. It's down to poor planning, poor spending, and a poor future outlook from the Chelsea bosses. On to Liverpool. Arne Slot eased his own fears over the sack with a 4-0 win over Galatasaray on Wednesday. It's not the season he might have expected after signing Alexander Isak for a club record fee, Florian Wirtz for over 100 million and Hugo Ekitike, but there is still the chance to win the Champions League. The Premier League is gone. It will be tough, but Anfield is so important on continental nights, under the lights. It's a tough place to go, and that'll be vital against PSG. If they can keep them quiet, they already showed last season that they can win in Paris, and an upset could be on the cards again. Whether they'll win the tournament, I'm not quite sure. And finally, a huge clash in England this weekend. Arsenal face Manchester City in the League Cup final. Mikel Arteta will obviously be thirsty for his first piece of silverware in almost 6 years to prove that he can win trophies, perform against the biggest clubs in the country and in the world, and give himself a little bit of breathing space when it comes to the pressure of actually winning silverware. But they face City. City have won the League Cup more than anyone under Pep Guardiola. He knows how to see finals through at Wembley. He's beaten Arsenal there before. And although they've not been at the best in recent times, that experience could count a lot for their players. Obviously, they won the treble just under 3 years ago, and a lot of that squad remain. That could be enough to see them over the line. It might well be Arsenal's year in the Premier League and in the Champions League, but I do have a feeling that City will win at Wembley this weekend. Thank you, and Asante Sana.
Asante Sana, Will Lancaster. I hope I said it correctly. Really indeed, for sharing.